Hello everyone, welcome to another video tutorial from SFDC Stop in the Lightning Web Component tutorial series. So in this tutorial, we are going to do some refinements, or I can say some code improvements in our code that we have written for our to-do list. And also we are going to add some additional features like a loader whenever a task is being inserted, and a loader when a task is deleted, and when I click on this refresh button. And we are also going to check that whether this input field is empty or not, then only I'm able to click the add button and all that stuff, right? So first of all, we'll add some of the improvements, and then we'll refine our code, and we'll check what can be the probable errors when we are dealing with this kind of list, or when we are dealing with JavaScript arrays, right? Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing that we need to do is that whenever I'm adding a task, let's say I'm inserting a task, it actually takes some time to get reflected over here, right? Because it is making a server call, it is inserting that task in Salesforce, it is getting back from Salesforce, and then it is inserting or showing that in the list, right? So let's add a spinner over here that we can use to show whenever this task is being inserted. And similarly, if a task is deleted, at that point of time also it is taking some time, and then it is deleting a task. So we'll be showing that spinner over there as well. And apart from this, whenever I'm clicking on the refresh icon as well, in that case also I'll be showing the same spinner. So the refresh icon is being used whenever I'm creating a new task in Salesforce that's not reflected over my list, right? Let's say I created another task named as task in Salesforce. Let's say the name is like that, right? And I simply save this task. So right now I have another task in Salesforce which is named as task in Salesforce, and in case I click on this refresh icon, it will refresh my list uh, by fetching the task in Salesforce that is there, right? So in this case also we need a loader so that we stop the user until that particular operation which is in progress is completed, right? Okay, so let's delete this task, and I'll just check that this task is deleted. Yes, it is. So yeah, let's begin. So the first thing that we need to do is to find out a spinner and add that spinner whenever the task is inserted or deleted, right? So let's say we don't know anything about Salesforce. So I'm just going to search for LWC spinner, and here I can see in the developer documentation that I can use this particular lightning spinner. Okay, so let it just load. Okay, so here I can see that I have a number of spinners with different sizes. I can pick up a small size spinner, a medium size spinner, and a large size spinner as well. Okay, so let us pick a small size spinner that you can use. So you can just use this particular code which is given lightning hyphen spinner, and then you can give an alternative test, and you can also specify the size of the spinner, right? Okay, so let's do the same thing for our component. I'm going to specify a spinner in my HTML file, and I want to show the spinner in this particular part. I mean, in this whole part, it should cover everything from this add button to this I can say field as well as this particular list, right? So it should cover everything. Okay, so for that, I can add my spinner inside my layout item, which is at the top, or I can say the topmost layout item. So I can add my spinner here below the refresh button, right? Okay, so let's add a spinner named as lightning hyphen spinner, right? And this spinner, I can give an alternative text as well. So let's give an alternative hyphen text. I think it was this only. So alternative hyphen text is equal to loading. I can give any alternative text. Let's say it's loading only. So loading, and then I can specify a size of the spinner. So in my case the size is small. I'm picking up a small spinner, and that's it, right? So that's it for adding a spinner. Let's check it out if our spinner is added successfully or not. Okay, so my component is refreshed, and here you can see that I am able to see a spinner which is covering all the part, and it is a spinner of size small, right? So this is working perfectly fine. But as you can see that my component is loaded, my data is loaded, but still my spinner is there, right? So I need to just hide or show the spinner conditionally. Like whenever my data is loading initially, this spinner should show, and whenever my data is loaded, this spinner should go away, right? Okay, so how I can do that? Let us create a variable for that first of all in JavaScript, and we'll use that variable to show or hide a spinner, right? So let me just create a new variable over here, and I'll name that variable as, let's say, processing, right? So I can simply add another variable named as processing, and initially that processing is true because whenever my component is initialized, my spinner should show because it is loading some data from server, right? So initially this processing is true, and whenever my component is getting the data from the wire method, then it should become false, right? So whenever my data is loaded, it should be false. So let's go down to our wire method, and whenever my data is loaded, so let's say in case I'm getting a data, and here I can check that if I'm getting a data, and just let me write it over here at the, or let me write it below, right? So I can simply check that the response, if I'm getting a data from the response, or I'm getting an error from the response, right? So in case any of the data or error is defined, I can simply say that I want to set my processing variable to false, right? So in case I'm getting a data from the response, or I'm getting an error, or I can simply do it like this only, if error uh, or data, because I'm already using that above. So if data or error, I'm going to specify this processing variable as false, right? Okay, so now I got to know that my spinner will, my spinner will hide whenever this, I'm getting a data initially from the wire method, right? Okay, so let's use that spinner, or I can say processing variable over here. I'm going to add a template, and I'm going to add an if condition, right? So this if condition will check if my processing variable is true or not. So if the processing variable is true, then only it is going to show my spinner. So I'm going to add the spinner inside this template, which is checking that if this processing variable is true, it will show the spinner. If this is false, it will not show the spinner, right? So let me save this, and let me check out what I have done in my JS again. So I have created a variable which is named as spinner, that you can see here. Sorry, the name is processing. So this is the processing variable that you can see here, and in case my processing variable is true, which is initially true, so it will show me a spinner over here because this processing variable is true. And whenever my data is loaded from my apex, so let me just close these functions. So here I can see whenever my data is loaded initially, and I got a data, or even if I got an error, I want to just remove this spinner, right? So I'm specifying this dot processing as false, which will make this variable as false, and the spinner will automatically hide, right? Okay, so let me just refresh this page, and let's see if our spinner is hidden or not. So initially it is shown, and whenever my data is loaded, it is hidden, right? So I can see it again. Initially I'm seeing the spinner, and my data is loaded, and the spinner is hidden, right? Okay, so I think this is fine. And the next thing that I need to do is whenever I'm adding a new task in the list, so let's say I'm adding a new task named as task 4, I want to show a spinner as I click on add button, and when my response is, I got the response from the server, I should hide that spinner again, right? Okay, so what I can do for this, I can simply go to my add task to list method in my JS. Let's move on to add task to list, and inside my JS I can first of all initialize this spinner to false, or to true. I should say true, right? Because this spinner is now false, I should initialize the processing variable to true. Okay, so whenever this add button is clicked, this method is called. I'm initializing the spinner to true again, and whenever I got a response from the server, or I got an error, I want to make this spinner as false. So this dot processing is equal to false, and in case I got an error as well, in that case also I should do this dot processing is equal to false, right? So let's say I'm converting it into a method with multiple lines, so I can simply do it like this, and this dot processing into is equal to false. So in case my response is successful, I'll just make it false, and in case there is an exception, I'll make it false again. And whenever I'm clicking this dot processing is true, right? Okay, let's save this and let's see if it is working fine or not, right? Okay, so my spinner is loaded and I can see 4 tasks, and let's say I added a new task named as task 5, and I click on this add button, and I got a spinner again, and my task is added and the spinner is removed, right? I added another task which is named as task 6. I clicked on add button, I am seeing a spinner, and I added a task and my spinner is removed, right? So this is working perfectly fine now. But one thing I want to show you here, that in case you have some code which is common to both then and catch, then you can also add a finally block and add that code over there, right? So I can also, I mean, instead of making a catch block with body, I can, what I can do, I can simply add a finally block after the catch. So I can simply use a finally block as well. And whenever I'm getting, whenever I'm getting a response, first of all, this then or catch, I mean, any one of this will be executed. And after this is executed, finally, this finally block will be executed, right? So I can simply specify that I'm setting this dot processing is equal to false in the finally. And in case I'm adding it to finally, I don't need to add it into the response block as well. I can simply remove it from everywhere. I'm making it true at the top and I'm making it false at the finally block. So finally, I mean, it's similar to Java. Like we add a block and then we add an exception and then we add a finally block, right? So it is similar to that. This code will be executed no matter whether the response is successful or I'm getting an exception. This code will be executed always, right? So this is the standard JavaScript syntax that I'm using, and I'm actually making my spinner as false in the finally block, right? Let's see if it works or not. I'm adding a task 7 now, and it should show a spinner, and then it should remove that. Okay, so it is showing a spinner, it is removing that. I'm adding a task 8, it is showing a spinner, it is removing that, right? Okay, so I added a processing variable into add task to list, and similarly, if I'm deleting a task, I should add a spinner there as well, right? So let's say I'm deleting task 8, I'm deleting task 7, I should add a spinner here as well, right? Okay, so let's do that. I need to move on to my delete task from list method in this case, and I can do the same thing that I did in case of my insertion, right? So I can simply specify this dot processing is equal to true here. So I mean, you can notice this thing that in case I'm doing any kind of JavaScript processing, before that I'm setting the spinner because I want to show the spinner as soon as possible when I click the delete button, right? So I'm showing the spinner as true, and whenever I'm getting a successful response or an error as well, I can simply add a finally block over there, and I can set this spinner to false. So I can simply set this dot spinner or this dot processing is equal to false, right? Okay, so I think this should work fine in case of delete as well. So I have added this dot processing is equal to true at the top, and I have added this dot processing is equal to false in the finally block. Okay, so initially a spinner is shown, and as I'm adding a new task, let's say I'm adding task 7, I'm showing a spinner and it is added to the list. And in case I'm deleting a task, let's say I deleted task number 6, I'm showing a spinner and task 6 is deleted. In case I'm deleting task 7, I'm showing a spinner and then my task 7 is deleted, right? So this is a better user interface, I can say, where user is not confused. It is shown to the user that a processing is going on, the task is being deleted. So you can actually wait and then you can see this, right? So in case I'm using this refresh button, I should show a spinner in that case as well. So let me add a spinner in case of a refresh as well, right? So if you remember, whenever I'm clicking on that refresh button, we are calling this particular method, which is known as refresh to do list. And this is doing nothing. This is just calling this refresh apex method, right? Okay, so let's see how we can add a spinner or how we can make this spinner as false when we are dealing with refresh apex. So I can simply at the top, I can make it true like this dot processing is equal to true like I have done in another methods, right? And in case I want to make it as false, I can add a finally block to this refresh apex as well, right? So I can add a finally block here as well, and I can just initialize. I mean, this syntax basically means that my finally block is not getting any kind of parameter, right? So I can simply specify this dot processing is equal to false over here. So it will automatically show a spinner whenever my refresh button is clicked and whenever my refresh apex is being called, and it doesn't matter whether it is calling I mean whether it is actually refreshing the list or not, because we learned in the previous tutorials that it is only refreshing a list when there is a change on the server side. So in any case, the finally block will be called automatically and it will set the spinner back to false, right? Okay, so let's save this and let's see if it is working fine or not. Okay, so to my page is refreshed. I can see here that in case I click on this refresh button, it is refreshing the list and it is hiding the spinner automatically, right? It is refreshing the list, it is hiding the spinner automatically. Okay, so this is working perfectly fine. I was able to add a spinner onto my code, and this is looking much better now as compared to my previous code, right? Okay, so the next thing that we need to do in this particular tutorial is to check whether my task has a subject or a name or not. And even I think we should get rid of this suggestions. I mean, I don't need a suggestion when I want to add a task to the list, right? Let us see first of all how we can remove this browser suggestions in case it is coming to any of the input field that you are using in Lightning. I mean, this is a very basic thing, but usually we ignore that when we are working on LWC or Lightning, right? Okay, so let's see where I'm storing this name and how I can remove this suggestion, right? So in case you want to remove this suggestion, you have another attribute that you can use. Let me go to the HTML, and I'm accepting the task name into my input field, which is this particular input field, right? And inside this input field, I'm accepting the task name as yeah, I'm accepting the task name inside this input field. Okay, so what I can do to make this input field don't show me the suggestions, I can say. So what I can do here, I can simply set an autocomplete attribute. So this attribute is present in any standard HTML input field, so this is present in our Lightning input as well. So I can specify this autocomplete attribute and I can simply off this autocomplete attribute, right? So in case I'm marking it as off, I won't be getting any suggestion whenever I'm clicking on this particular input field, right? So let me just save it and let me check it out if it is working or not. So this is another code refinement that we just did, that I'll not get any kind of suggestions now, no matter how many times I click on this particular input field, right? So this is managed by the autocomplete attribute. Just keep a note of this. It is a very simple thing, but people usually don't use this. But it is really useful if you want to use. Okay, so the next thing that I need to do is that I shouldn't be able to insert any empty tasks, right? So if I click on add button right now, I am able to insert an empty task onto the list. So this should not happen, right? So let me delete this and let us check whether how we can stop this from inserting an empty task. So in order to do that, I can move back to my method which is named as add task to list, right? So let me move on to add task to list, and I can simply check out one thing, that in case my new task variable, because whenever I'm writing something over there, whenever I'm writing a name of the task, it is stored in my new task variable. If you remember, we have done this in the previous tutorial, right? And this new task variable is initialized to an empty string by default. So I can simply check inside my add task to list method that in case my new task variable is empty, so in this case I shouldn't move ahead. I mean, I don't need to execute any of the code because my task doesn't have a name, right? So I can simply return it from here, and that's it, right? Okay, so let's check it out if this code is working fine or not. So in case I haven't added a task and I'm simply clicking on add button, so I'm not adding anything over here, I'm simply clicking on add button, then I won't be able to add any kind of task, right? And in case I'm adding a value over here like task 5, I'm able to add a task. So in this case I'm able to add a task, right? And in case it is again empty, I won't be able to add a task, right? So let me just refresh it and check it again. In case my field is empty, I won't be able to add a task, right? So here you can see I won't be able to add a task. Okay, so this refinement is actually done, and now I think my application is working perfectly fine. But one more thing is there, and this is a very crucial point that I want to highlight whenever you are working on JavaScript arrays, right? So if you remember what we did, we whenever we are adding a new task to the list, we are simply adding it to the end of the list, and whenever we are deleting a new task to the list, right, we are deleting it by finding the ID, or I can say the index of that particular task in the JavaScript array, and then we are removing it, right? And whenever we are doing an insertion, I am specifying this ID as this dot to do task dot length plus one. So this is the unique ID that I'm using in my HTML to display the list of tasks, right? So let me just show you that again. Whenever we are displaying the list of tasks in a for loop, I need a unique key, and this key is nothing but this dot to do task dot id, and this dot to do task dot id is nothing but the length of the to do task plus one. Okay, so the question here is, can we get duplicate IDs or not? Because now I am able to delete a task, I am able to add new tasks. So is it possible that I can get duplicate IDs or not? To find out, let me just add a console.log whenever I'm inserting a task, and I'll simply log this dot to do tasks, right? This dot to do tasks. Okay, so let's see if it is possible to get duplicate IDs or not. Because in case we are getting duplicate IDs, then it is possible that we won't be deleting the correct task, because it is finding the first task in the list with that particular ID, and it may delete a wrong task, right? Let us check this. Okay, so right now 5 tasks are there, and each is having a unique ID. That's particularly fine. I'm adding a task number 6. I'm clicking on the add button, and it is being added. And here you can see, let me just json.stringify that so that we can see it clearly. Okay, so let's have a look at those tasks again. Okay, so now I have, I think, 6 tasks in my list, and let's say I added a task 7, and I clicked on add button, and here you can see that my 7th task has an ID of 7, and the name is task 7, and the record ID is automatically updated because I'm updating it when I'm getting it from the server side, right? Okay, so this is fine. Let's say I added a task 8, right? Let's add a task 8 again, and I click on add button, and in this case my key is 8, and my name is task 8, and the record ID is this one, right? Okay, so let's say I deleted this particular task 7, right? I deleted this particular task 7. So in this case, what happened? The ID, I mean the task with an ID 7 is deleted, and now I have let me just show you the list as well whenever I'm deleting a task, so that we can debug it properly, right? Let me just show you that very quickly. I want to display this dot to do task. Let's console.log this dot to do tasks, and I'm going to JSON dot stringify that, right? Okay, so I actually, this is a very important thing, that's why I'm doing a lot of debugs. So bear with me. It is really important and really useful. Okay, so I have 8 tasks. Okay, 7 tasks in my list: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. And I added a task number 7 at the end, and I clicked on the add button. And here you can see that my IDs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and my tasks are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 7, right? And let's say I deleted task number 8. Okay, so let's see what is the updated list. So in case I deleted task number 8, my updated list is this, and here you can see my IDs are like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, right? And let's say I added another task now. I added task 8 again, right? So I added task number 8 again, and I clicked on add. So it is going to add a task to my list, and here you can see an error, right? And let me just check out what is the updated list. So here you can see the updated list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and then again 8, right? So here you can see that I am getting an ID of 8 twice, and the error that I am getting is that duplicated key attribute for the list element that you are using in HTML. And if you remember, in our HTML, the key attribute is nothing but to do task.id, and this ID is automatically duplicated right here, right? So why this ID is duplicated, right? Let's check this out, right? Okay, so why this ID is duplicated? Okay, so whenever I'm inserting a new task, what is happening? It is checking that what is the length of my to-do task list, and it is simply adding +1 to that, and it is setting that value as the ID of my new task, right? So whenever I deleted, I mean, let's say, let us just perform this operation again, and we'll see what's happening behind the scenes, right? Let me just delete these two tasks for now. Let me just delete this task 7 and task 8 for now, and I'll perform that operation again, right? Okay, so let's say I added task number 7 and it is added to the list, perfectly fine, ID is 7, right? I added task number 8, it is added to the list and ID should be 8, it is perfectly fine. I actually deleted, let's say, task number 7, it is deleted from the list, and now the ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 8, right? And I added another task named as task number 9. So whenever when I'm going to add this particular task, it is going to see the length of the task array, right? So in case, I mean, at present I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 items in my array, right? So in my array, the length of this array is particularly 7 because I have 7 items, and I'm going to add +1 to that, and I'm going to set it as the ID, right? So in this case, whenever I'm going to add task number 9, the ID of that task will be again 8 because the length of the task array is 7. So it is not actually checking the ID of the last added element, but it is checking the ID of the whole list, and it is adding +1 to that, and it is setting that up as the unique key. So this is a very crucial error that I did intentionally, because this is something that we came across when we are working with JavaScript. We forgot, we usually forget about this, that this ID may duplicate in some particular scenario, right? Let's say I added a new task named as task number 9 and I clicked on add button, and here I got an error, and here I can see that my ID is duplicated, right? Okay, so what can we do to overcome this error? I think I can simply use the ID of my last task and I add +1 to that to construct the ID of my new task, right? So I think that's perfectly fine thing that I can do, right? Okay, so let's do that. Let's say our length is this to do task dot length, and let's say right now, let's say the previous scenario where I had 8 tasks, and this, I mean, the length of these tasks is 7 because I have the first task, the second task, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and 7, right? So the length is 7, and I want to find the ID of the task which is present at index number 6, because the array index starts from 0. So this is the 0th index, this is the first index, this is the second index, this is the third index, and this is the fourth index, this is the fifth index element, and this is the sixth index element, right? So I want to find the ID of the task which is present at index number 6, which is nothing but task.length -1, right? So first of all, I want to do this dot task to do task.length -1. I want to find the ID of the task. So let's say I want to find this dot to do task. I want to find a task which is present at this particular index, which is nothing but length -1. So this is the last task which is present at index 6, but it is present at the index 6. Its ID is 8, and it is the 7th task that it is in the list, right? So I mean, it is a little confusing, but let me just remind it again. uh, this is the task number 7 because this is the first task, this is the second task, third task, fourth task, fifth task, sixth task, seventh task, but array indexes start from 0. That's why the index of this array element is 0, and the ID of this array element is 8, right? Okay, so here I'm using the index to find the task. So the task index will be length -1, because in case there are 7 elements, so the last element in the array will be at index 6, right? Okay, so let me just show you that as well. I mean, I don't know whether it is clear or not. So let's say I have an array named as fruits, right? So ruits is equal to, and it's let's say banana, and I have another fruit over here, let's say it's apple, and another fruit over here, let's say it's orange, right? And let's say I want to find my index of the element which is I want to find the index of the last element, right? So I can simply, if I just use to debug this fruits array, I can simply see here that the index of the last element is 2, right? However, the last element is the third element in the list, but its index is 2. So this is what I'm using. If the to do task array length -1 will give me the index of the last element. So let's say if I want to find out the index of orange, I can simply do it like fruits dot length -1. So it will give me 2. So this is the index of the last element, right? So the last element of the array can the index of the last element of the array can be finded by the length of the array -1. So this is the index of the last element of the array. I am using that element, and I am specifying the ID. I'm using the ID of that particular element, which is defined by small I and d, and I'm doing at the end +1 in that particular list. Okay, so let me save it and let's see how it's working now. Okay, so my list is being refreshed, and I'm going to delete the other tasks again, and I'm going to add them again. Let me just delete task number 8. Let me just delete task number 9 as well. Okay, so right now my list is sorted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? I'm clearing it out, and let's say I'm adding task number 7. So it will be added at the 7th position, but the index here is 6, right? And the ID is 7. That's perfectly fine. I'm adding task number 8. I'm adding it to the list. It is also fine. I'm adding, let's say I deleted task number 7. So this time my ID element with ID 7 is deleted, and I'm having 7 tasks, but the last task is having an ID of 8, right? Let's say if I add task number 9 this time, let's see what will happen. So I clicked on add button, and here you can see that the ID of this task is now 9. So this is not again 8, it is as 9, right? So why this ID is 9? Because I find the last element in my list by using this particular code, and the last element was the 8th element, this particular thing, right? I used that element ID, which is nothing but 8, and I added 1 to that, so it became 9, and I'm able to add a 9 element in the list. So this time I didn't get any issue that the key is duplicated, because I'm able to because my key is unique each time. It doesn't matter from where you are deleting the elements in the list. Let's say I deleted task number 3, and I'm adding task number 10 here, right? So in this case also my ID will be unique, which will be 10, right? So let's say what can happen next. Let's say I deleted task number 9, and I'm adding task number 11 here, right? So in this case the ID will be 11. And in case I deleted the task with ID 11, let's say I deleted this particular task, and I'm adding a task 11 again. So in this case it will be again with an ID 11. So this is perfectly fine, right? So this is how we are now dealing with the duplicate keys. Okay, so I just want to show you one thing, that this duplicate key maybe it's possible that you want to ignore this, but it can have some really bad impacts, right? So let me show you what kind of impact it can have if the key is duplicated. So I'm just going to copy this code, and I'm going to paste it here so that it's stored for now. Uh, and I'm going to revert this code to the previous code that we had. So previously we had this dot to do task dot length +1, and I was setting up the ID like this only, right? Okay. So let's see what kind of impact can I have if I'm not taking this in account, and in case I'm using this overall code only. Will I be getting any error in JavaScript only, or there can be any error on the Salesforce side as well? I want to see that, right? So let me just 1, 2, 4. Let me just delete all the elements, and I'll show you very quickly. 5th is deleted, 6th is deleted, 7th is deleted. This is also deleted, and this is also deleted, right? Okay. Okay, so all my tasks are now deleted, and I have only 2 tasks in my list, task 1 and task 2. Let me just refresh it, and let me check in Salesforce as well. I have only 2 tasks, task 1 and task 2, right? Okay, and these 2 tasks I can see here, one it is at an index 0, and second is at an index 1, right? Let's say I added another task named as task 3, and I added it to the list, right? And I added another task named task 4. I added it to the list. So now it is coming perfectly fine. I deleted task number 3. It's gone. And now my IDs are 1, 2 and 4. I added another task named as task 5 and I added it to the list, right? Okay, so now I have duplicate IDs, right? 4 and 4. And let's say I want to delete a task which is named as task 5. So let's see if our task 5 will be deleted or not, because this task is at the end and these both the tasks are having an ID of 4, right? So let's see if our task is particularly deleted or not, right? Okay, so I clicked on this delete button and it is doing some processing and task 5 is deleted. Okay, so let me just check out in my server as well. So task 5 is deleted, it is working fine. Let me add task 5 again. So I added task 5 again and let's see how our ID is there. Okay, so our ID here is this. Okay, so when I tried to delete task 5, it was deleted successfully, right? Even if I was having the same records with the same IDs, right? But let's see what will happen if I want to delete task 4, whether it is deleted from Salesforce or not, right? So I added the task 5 again in the list, and this time I'm having two tasks in the list with the same IDs, with the same keys, that is ID 4 and ID 4, and this is task 4 and this is task 5, right? And now I want to delete task number 4, right? Let's delete this and let's see what will happen. Okay, so here you can see that my task 4 is still showing in the list. However, my task 5 is gone, but I deleted task number 4, right? So why my task 4 is still in the list and my task 5 is gone? Let me just check out the record IDs, or let me just go to the Salesforce and refresh this and see what task is deleted, right? So here you can see that my task 5 is deleted, but I deleted task number 4. So this is a very big error, or I can say an issue with our custom component when we are having duplicate IDs, right? Because whenever I'm finding the index of the array, when I mean, let me show you why this is happening. So what I'm doing here, I'm iterating my list and I'm checking, I'm setting up the, I'm finding the index where my ID is equal to ID to delete, right? So this ID to delete is 4 for both the elements, right? So when I clicked on, when I tried to delete task number 4, it was having the ID as ID to delete. So my index was number 3 because it was the third element. Sorry, number 2 because it was the third element in the list. But when I moved on to the next element in the array, because it is a for loop running over there, then I checked that my ID to delete is equal to the task ID. So this condition was true for another record as well. So this particular condition, that is ID to delete is equal to task I dot id. So this condition was true for both the records, for this record as well and for this record as well. So in case I wanted to delete this record, it is coming at the end, so it worked perfectly fine. But if I wanted to delete this particular record, in that case my condition was true for both, and I'm still getting the index of the last record, because this loop will run until it has covered all the to do tasks, right? So it is getting the ID of the last record and it is again deleting the last record. It is not deleting the record which it should delete, right? So this is why it is crucial to have unique IDs, and that's why I mean it is important, and we have already did this by modifying the code a little bit. So this is the modification that we did, that I find out which is the last element of my array, and I use the ID of that particular element and I added plus 1 to that, right? And this time, no matter whatever I'm doing, I'll be getting a unique ID each time, right? Even if I'm adding task 3, I'm getting a unique ID. I'm deleting task 4, I'm getting a unique ID. I'm adding task 4 again, I'm getting a unique ID as 5, right? So this time it will work perfectly fine. If I want to delete task number 3, it will delete task number 3 only, and I'll be having task 1, 2 and 4. And in case I want to delete task number 4, it will be deleting task number 4 only. I'll be having 1, 2 in the list, right? Okay, so one more probable error that can occur, I think, is that when our list is empty, right? So in this case, we are actually setting up the ID by finding the last element in the list and taking that ID up and then adding plus 1 to that, right? But in case, let's say if our list is empty, then what will happen? We haven't considered that case right here, right? So let us do that. In case my task 2 is also deleted and my task 1 is also deleted from the list, and I'm adding another task. So now you can see that my list is empty, right? I'm adding another task, task 1, and I'm clicking on add button. So this task is actually created in Salesforce, but here we can see that type error cannot read property ID of undefined. Okay, so why this error is coming? Because my list doesn't have any kind of element I mean, my list doesn't have anything right now, so it is empty, and I'm checking the length of the list will be 0, so 0 minus 1 will be minus 1, and I'm finding the list element with a minus 1 index and then the ID of that. So this particular thing is coming as undefined, and the ID of undefined is the ID of this particular object which is undefined because it is not defined, right? Okay, so what we can do to fix this, let me just refresh, just let us choose the refresh button to see if it is inserted in Salesforce. Yeah, it's inserted in Salesforce, but it is not going to take, I mean, we cannot use it, right? So what we can do, let me just check it out. So what I'll see, I'll check that if this particular object is defined or not. So how I can do that, I can just copy this thing and I can paste it over here again, and I can add a conditional operator. So this is a conditional operator that we usually use in programming languages, right? So this is checking that if this part before the question mark is true, and then if it is true it will use this, otherwise it will use the part which is after the colon. So after the colon I am adding a 0 over here. Let me just uh, display that to you again, and yeah, so this is the thing that we are doing here. If this dot to do task and the last element which is length minus 1 is defined, if this is a valid task or a valid element, right? So if this is defined, then I'll be taking its ID and adding 1 to that, so it will be my new ID. Otherwise, if this is not defined, then 0 will be my new ID, because if this is not defined, that means that my list is empty, my to-do list is empty, or my array is empty, right? So in case this array is empty or this is not defined, I can simply add +1 to that, and I can simply use 0 in that case as my ID, right? In other words, I can also check that if this dot to do task is empty, or I can use the array dot empty function to check the array as empty. But this is the best thing, I think. If this is defined, then it is fine, and if it is not defined, I can simply use a 0 in other case, right? So this is a kind of if else statement that is in one line. So I'm using it as a, I mean, I'm using the conditional operator over here. Let's save this and let's see what it do right now. Okay, so I have a single element in the list which is coming as this. It is having an ID 0 and ID and subject is coming. I am deleting this. My array is empty, and I am adding another element to the list. So it is now coming it as ID 0, task 1, and record ID this, right? So I think, I mean, this is now fine because it is taking the ID as 0 when that particular element, the last element in the list is not defined. It is taking the ID as 0 and it is working fine. If I am adding task 2, this time it will take the last element, add +1 to that, and it will be taking ID as 1, right? So this is the final code for this particular push function, where I'm setting up the ID by checking out the last element. If it is present, I'm using that ID and adding +1 to that. Otherwise, I'm not using 0, right? You can just move on to the Veta file. You can set is exposed to true. This is important if you want to use it in Salesforce, and you can add a master label if you want. This will be shown in the page builder, and you can add a description as well. And in the targets, it is actually specifying where you want to embed this component. So I may embed this component into the record page. I may embed this component into the app page. I may embed this component into the home page as well. So I have already connected my project to a Scratch org. I'm going to push my source to the default Scratch org, and then I'm going to embed this component to a home page, and I'll show you that, right? Okay, so my push source to default Scratch org successfully ran, and now I can move on to my Scratch org. So if you want to open the org, you can just do open default org. However, I have already opened this org here, so I can directly go here, and let's embed our to-do task list onto our home page, right? So let me just close it because it's already open, and I can move on to there. I can choose edit page, and I can embed this component, right? So the master label, I can use the master label to search for my application. So the master label is to do application, and let me just search for to do application. Here you can see I have a custom component named as to do application, and the description is coming over here, that component to create and manage a to do list, right? So this description is coming as a hint, right? Here you can see it. Okay, so let me just drag and drop it somewhere like this, and I'm going to activate this page because this is the first time I'm dragging and dropping and modifying this. So you can, okay, so it is already set, I think. Yeah, I mean, in case you haven't activated, you can just you will see a button here as assign as awk default. I have already set it, I think, so it's fine, and I can simply save it, and then I can go back, right? Okay, so now we have deployed our component, and here I can see my list of to do tasks. I can add a new task named as task 3, and I can add it to the list, right? I can add another task named as task 4. I can add it to the list, right? I can add another task, task 5. I can add it to the list. And even if I'm checking the tasks, it is actually affecting in Salesforce, right? So I can see here 5 tasks. Let's say I create a task from here, and I'm naming it as task number 6. Let's say I'm naming it as task number 6, right? And I can go back to my home page and I can check it out. So let me just refresh this list, and here I can see my task number 6 is also appearing, right? I can delete task number 5, I can delete task number 4, I can delete task number 6 as well, and I can go back to tasks and I can check out there are only 3 tasks, right? And I can go back to home page, I can actually refresh this list to get the latest list from server. I can see it here, right? Okay, so that's all for this particular to-do list application series. I hope you liked it, and we are able to create a to-do list, and we were able to learn a lot of things in JavaScript by building a small project. And yeah, that's all for these tutorials. Let me know your feedback in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next tutorial where we'll learn about some other concept of LWC or maybe something else. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.